Hi there, I'm with Talk About Art and I'm going to show you making a still life in your windowsill, and it's inspired by the paintings of Winifred Nicholson. So first I'm going to show you some of her paintings so you get an idea of what has inspired this workshop. So here you see that she creates these lovely still lives, which is when you put lots of different objects together that then you get from real life and then you spend time drawing or painting it. And so here she's got different plant pots. And then in this one she's got just one plant pot, but she's kind of played more with like the larger shape. And then this final one, I'm just going to increase the brightness. You can see that she's just got one vase of flowers. And then in the backgrounds they've all got these really beautiful landscapes. And so she paints kind of, it's almost like a seascape landscape, so it's got the ocean and then it's got an island in the background. And with her still lifes, one of the kind of key things that she uses them for is exploring colour, because when you look at a windowsill, they're often white, and you can see her windowsill is white, but rather than painting it white, it's not actually what you really see in real life, because the way the colour bounces off it changes that so that it turns into more of this really soft lilac grey colour. And then also when you look at the sky, it's not always, if it's cloudy, it's not really white or blue necessarily. So here you see it's got that kind of yellow grey of the sky. And then she's used something called aerial perspective, where the colours fade the further they are, further away they are from you. So here you can see the ocean or the sea is like a much lighter blue when it's further away, and then when it's the closer, it's got that more vibrant blue. And then I'm just sure I'd show you in terms of a colour wheel. So we've got the primary colours in the middle, so the red, the yellow and the blue, and the secondaries, when you mix the red and the blue together, you get this purple. And then if you were to mix that purple with a bit of red, that's the tertiary colour, and the same in the other direction. And so with hers, you can see that she uses a lot of these tertiary colours, so she gets that soft lilac by maybe mixing white with that kind of purpley red, or getting that kind of like sea blue here by mixing white with, the sky with like that kind of orangey colours, mixing that with a bit of white, as well as like a bit more of the kind of blues and purples as well. And so first of all, I'm going to show you how you might do your still life. And so I found this jar, and then from outside I picked this dandelion and some long pieces of grass, and also this droopy flower. I forgot to put it in water, so it got a bit sad. But so that's the still life that I'm using, and so I put that on my windowsill. And like Winifred Nicholson, I'm using the corner of the windowsill here. And then I've made this viewfinder where I've just cut a rectangle out of a piece of card. And so this is going to help me decide like how I'm going to do my composition, where I place my objects in my page. So you can see, and it also helps you kind of get an idea of perspective. So just make that a bit easier to see. So you can see that. And this also gives you an idea of like how big things are in relation to each other. So you can see that jar is a lot smaller than the fronds of the flowers, but also where the kind of fronds of the grass start, the jar and the main stem is about the same height, but then the fronds come up from there. And also the top of the grass and the top of the dandelion sort of go up to the same point as well. So that's kind of like the sort of composition I'm going to make with my still life. So I'm going to go ahead, get my piece of paper. I'm going to start drawing that in. So I'm going to draw quite hard with the pencil to begin with. I'm going to start with the main shape, which is my jar. So I only want it to be about that size. But usually when I was drawing, I'd be drawing really gently and softly, something that people call whisper drawing, where it's like a whisper on the page. Because that way, if you do a line that you don't like so much, then you can easily rub it out, or you can easily go over it, so it doesn't become so, like when you press really hard and you rub it out, then it really stays, whereas if you press gently, then you can make adjustments more easily. So can you see the jar and the kind of main part of the grass is about the same height, and then from there the fronds come out. And I'm not really trying to do exactly, I'm just kind of getting an impression of the fronds. So I'm sort of doing kind of like more just kind of mark making. And the same here. So it's kind of like almost like a feathery, they're all kind of feathery ends, which is really nice. And then I think the top of the dandelion goes to about the top of there like that. And so, And then also you can think about the negative space, which is the space around the object. So that kind of makes like a V shape with the dandelion and the grasses, so that you can kind of figure out what angles you want to make when you're copying it. And then I've got the kind of shape of the flower like that coming up, and then my droopy flower, and then the kind of leaves sort of fan out at the top. And it gets to about this point here, the bottom of the last flower. It's about that point, so I can mark that in, so it's kind of like I'm mapping out where I'm going to put my other lines. And then I'm going to put in the windowsill, so it comes to about the top of the jar. And then the side of the windowsill and the fronds kind of overlap a bit, like that. And then the kind of where the join of the flat and the vertical come to about this point, the corner of the windowsill. And my edge. That. My other edge here. So put these lines in there, and so now I'm going to think about the background. So in her, she has these really beautiful landscapes, and because I've kind of got the sky outside, I live in a city, I live in London, so it's a lot of buildings. So I want to do more something like what she does, and so I've thought about where would I maybe wish I could see outside my window right now. So I've got this as a view of the Outer Hebrides, which is in Scotland, which is like a really beautiful island. And then this is one that she did, so the view of, what's it called? Isle of Man from St. Bees. And then this is a view I grew up with, so I'm from New Zealand originally. And so this is a volcano that you can see from Auckland. So I'm actually going to draw that in because I would love to be there right now. That would be nice. So I'm just going to put the horizon line above my plants. And put the volcano in the background. Then I'll show you what I've done. Can you see? So I've got my still life, and then in the background I've got the Rangitoto Island off of New Zealand. And then finally I'm just going to show you a bit about colour, because you might decide that you've done your drawing and you want to keep it that way, then you might do some shading with your drawing, or you might think, okay, because it's Winifred Nicholson, I really want to explore colour, so I'm just going to show you some mixing, some of the colours that she uses. So she uses that lovely kind of, those different coloured greys that kind of start from almost like a soft lilac colour. So I've got my primary colours in there, and I've got some white. So first of all, yeah, so my primary, so blue, red and yellow, and then lots and lots of white, because she uses lots of white. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of blue, a tiny bit of red. Can you see what a tiny amount I take? And I just take it right on the point of my brush, mix those together. And then I'm going to take that colour, and then I'm going to mix it to a load of white, because when you mixing into white, the colour really comes through quite strongly. So that's mainly blue in there, so I actually want a bit more red. So I'm going to wipe my brush off. So I've got a jar of water, and I've got some paper towels as well. You can use a rag. And I'm going to add a bit more red into that, so I've got more of that lilac colour. There we go. So I've got that lovely lilac. And then from there, what you can do is, like, to get the other tones that she gets, I might take a bit more red and mix that in there, and then I get sort of like a more reddy lilac. But then you might take that colour again, and then you might take a bit of yellow and mix that in, and that's almost more similar to that kind of sky colour that she got in her painting. And so rather than taking like the blue and mixing that with white, and then the red and mixing that with white, you want to mix all of them together in small amounts, mixing with a lot of white, and that way you get closer to those sorts of colours that she explores, those sort of tertiary colours that come in her paintings. And you can use it with any kind of paint and just have a go, and you can test it on some scrap paper. And then also it's worth bearing in mind that when you're painting, you want to start from the light to the dark, because when you put light over the dark colour still comes through. So to get those different shades, you want to start with the light and then work up from there. And so yeah, enjoy having a go at doing a bit of drawing and a bit of painting and looking at the work of Winifred Nicholson. Thank you.